Portions of this diorama were purchased by Joe Zuxworth from David Motniak's estate. David had commissioned the Alamo Chapel and Main Gate in 1995 from Robert B. Averill, a New York maritime artist. Joe immediately donated the diorama to the John Wayne Birthplace Museum in 2016. Originally displayed in David's home, the three sections of the diorama consisted of the Alamo Chapel and Palisade, the South Wall Main Gate, and Jim Bowie's room, and Colonel Travis's headquarters, the hospital and cattle pen. Built to accommodate 54mm characters, it was also showcased during San Antonio's 50th anniversary celebration of the premiere of John Wayne's The Alamo in 2010. David's sections are exact replicas of the 1959 Alamo film set built in Brackettville, Texas. Portions of this diorama have been constructed for this display by local model maker Ron Graham from Des Moines. Duke's decade-long odyssey to make the Alamo began in the late 1940s. This film would depict unbelievable sacrifice and be a tribute to the men and women who fought in World War II. Extremely concerned about the threat of communism, Wayne needed a method to support and inspire those who were fighting for freedom. These are perilous times. The eyes of the world are on us. We must sell America to countries threatened with communist domination. The Alamo would provide that message. The scene depicted before you is the evacuation of non-combatants before the first assault on the Alamo. Ken Curtis, as Captain Dickinson, escorts the families under the protection of a white flag through the main gate into the safety of San Antonio. There's blind Nell saying goodbye to her husband Jocko, portrayed by actors Vida Ann Borg and John Deers. The wagon is filled with children and their sole possessions. Looking more closely, you will see Davy Crockett, played by John Wayne, and Lawrence Harvey as Colonel Travis, watching the families leave. There's Richard Widmark as Jim Bowie, standing in front of his bedroom. He later meets his demise in the Alamo Chapel. Imagine how difficult it must have been for the defenders to say goodbye to their wives, sisters, and family members, knowing full well that in all probability they would never see them again. You will note that several props have been staged around the compound, including an oaken whiskey barrel placed by the main gate. It was later unceremoniously destroyed by a lucky shot by the Mexican Long Tom Cannon. She's a big one, Davy, and she's shooting from over here. Man, that ain't no fair way to fight a war. The wagon contains powder kegs stolen from the basement of the San Fernando Church. A local merchant and Mexican sympathizer hid them there to avoid Travis's request for guns, ammunition, and powder. Bowie, Crockett, and some of the Tennesseans liberated the powder and brought it back to the Alamo. It only seemed natural that Duke would want to make a film about his lifelong passion. It was his tribute to patriotism. On November 14, 1960, ABC broadcast a one-hour special on the making of John Wayne's The Alamo called The Spirit of the Alamo. The entire Alamo set, including the replica of the town of San Antonio as it looked in 1836, was built on a portion of Happy Shahan's 22,000-acre ranch in Brackettville, Texas. Wayne explained where the set was located. Well, that way south, about 50 miles is Mexico, and 138 miles east is San Antonio. This is our Alamo in Brackettville, built by Mexicans and Americans over the desire for freedom. Well, we know they died, and we know they were heroes. Nobody wants to die. Nobody just decided to be a hero. It has to be forced on you. And that's what happened to them. It was forced on them because they were stuck with ideas like freedom and the rights of individuals, hatred of dictators. Living free to them meant a lot more than cowering insecurity. A bit old-fashioned, perhaps, but these weren't just words for Wayne. They were his core beliefs: liberty, sacrifice, freedom, independence. I'm proud of every day of my life I wake up in the United States of America, said Wayne. The Alamo flag, located on the mound in the center of the compound, consisted of the Mexican vertical tricolors of green, white, and red, with the numerals 1824 on the white bar, which represented a belief that the defenders were fighting for the liberal Mexican Constitution of 1824. Later, during the final battle, John Wayne as Davy Crockett is seen on the flagpole mound when he knocks a Mexican dragoon off his horse and pushes over another horse and rider. Wayne's daughter, Tony LaCava, and little granddaughter, Anita, portrayed one of many pioneer women and children leaving the Alamo. Veteran Western actor Gwen Williams played an Alamo defender. "Ma'am, I ain't got no woman to say goodbye to. Can I tell you goodbye?" Tony answered, "Surely." However, shortly before the scene was filmed, little Anita threw up on her mother's hand. Too late to do anything else, Tony tried to wipe it off on her dress. 3 takes and a baby barf hand later, they got it right. Despite unbelievable odds and the reluctance of major Hollywood studios to finance the project unless he starred in it, Wayne spent the next decade trying to bring this project to fruition. It was the reaffirmation of the basic goodness of the human spirit, of how people of principle and courage could sacrifice everything they held sacred to the benefit of the greater cause. This is a big American story that I didn't think anyone could do better than I, said Wayne. It's the first time in my life I've been able to express what I feel about people. Filmed at the cost of $12 million, $113 million in today's money, the film was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Supporting Actor, Sound, Editing, Cinematography, Music Score, and Original Song, and won the Oscar for the Best Sound. When asked why he felt so strongly about this project, Wayne replied, "I deplore the type of garbage that's being splashed on our screens today. I think it's important for some agency in public life or communications to remind the world that once there were men and women in America who had the guts to stand up and die for things which they believed. This heroic story is not fiction. It happened, and it belonged to people everywhere who have an interest in a thing called freedom." Davy Crockett said, "Without freedom, you're dead as a beaver hat." Can't be said any plainer than that.
next to the museum is this little house that is the birthplace. So you got to follow a path of flags to get there. It's a tiny house, man. Hello, hi, how are you?
Where are you from?
I'm from Mount Ayr.
60 miles away.
Yeah, I'm going to pick my wife up at the airport, and I was stopping by. Originally I'm from Texas. We moved there 3 years ago. I've been meaning to come here all the time.
You are here now.
Yeah.
You are here. You're welcome to take all the pictures you want. That
Well,
is Dr. Jessie Smith,
Okay.
one of the very few lady physicians in this area. She took her training she was born in Madison County and died in Madison County. She took her training over at U of I hospitals in Iowa City. Came over here to practice medicine. She was the lady doctor that delivered Mary and Robert Morrison May 26, 1907 in this house.
Wow. So when was this house built?
In the 1880s.
1880s.
It was used as a rental house for many years, as well as a private residence.
Uh-huh.
When the Morrisons moved in here in 1906, they were paying rent on it.
Okay.
Mr. M.E. Smith, who owned the M.E. Smith drugstore on the south side of the square, also owned this house, so the Morrisons were paying rent on the house while they were living here.
Did it stay pretty original all those years, or did it have to be restored back to the way it was?
Back, John Wayne Association took it over, it was reverted back to 1907 standards.
Okay. Right. I imagine they didn't rent it with this in the 1970s.
Similar to that, yes.
When did it become like something where people realized that we need to do something with it?
1981, it became the John Wayne Birthplace House and Museum.
Okay, just a few years after he passed away. Yeah.
2 years after he passed away.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's great that it's still here, but
Well,
it's
there was people living in here up until 1980.
wow. It's such an unusual house the way it
Situated.
comes up to the corner.
Yeah, it's the way it was built on this lot.
Wow. So how much had it been changed over the years? How much did they have to change to make it back?
Well, they had to put in they redid the floor.
Uh-huh.
Because of course, had carpet on it, so they took out the carpet.
Okay.
But the woodwork itself is original. The 2 stained glass windows are original.
Mm-hmm.
And the wallpaper or the furnishings on the carpet are all put in here by the Historical Society and Antique Association to make what they thought looked like a period house at that time.
Wow, that's unusual to see an outlet.
This was the museum and the birthplace house. The museum was right in through here, so they had display cases stacked up, so they had to plug it up there.
Okay, so it was a tiny museum then.
Yes, very. It was crowded too.
I could imagine.
This room here was the museum. That was where you entered in.
Because I had heard that the cannon was in the garage or something.
Now in the museum itself.
Right, I just saw that. Wow.
It was moved in a couple of years ago.
And how many people were living here when he was born? Was it just
his parents and himself?
okay?
Clyde was a pharmacist here in town at Andy Smith's drugstore, and Mary had been a phone operator in Des Moines.
Okay, so, man.
The sink was disconnected when the John Wayne Association took it over. It had been a working sink.
Okay, so is that the sink that was here when
Yes.
he was born?
Well, I don't know what it was a sink. It was here when he was born, but it was a sink that was here in the house.
Okay. Wow. Interesting.
This
So,
is Mary's ultra-modern 1907 kitchen.
yeah.
That's put on later, that back porch.
Okay.
It was not the original back porch. That's just the pantry there.
So this looks original. So the woodwork out here was probably made to look like
Yes.
this.
Uh-huh.
They used this as the pattern
Yeah.
for that.
With the wood, yeah.
Because that looks new, but it looks old. I mean, it looks like an old pattern.
Old new. They painted the white, in the white, painted the woodwork white to make it look cooler in here too.
Right. So it was probably, was it painted that way when he was born, you think?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I wasn't here, so I don't know.
It's fascinating to me. We live in a place that was built about the time of World War I, and things have been changed so much in the place over the years. It's fascinating. So this must be where he was born.
And not in the bed, in the room.
In the room. Oh,
In the room. No, not the bed. All the furniture here are just period pieces.
okay. So it's not the actual bed, but it's this room.
It's the room. His birth announcement right there on the wall behind you.
Oh, yeah.
13 pounds at birth. He was a toddler at that time.
My goodness.
His birth certificate's right there in front of you. Very basic birth certificate.
My gosh.
He lived in this house till 1909.
Uh-huh.
Then they moved over to Brooklyn, Iowa. Then in 1910, they come back to Orloff, Iowa, which is 15 miles far northwest. That picture of the drugstore right there is where Clyde owned and operated it in Orloff. No, wait, that one right there. Yeah, that one.
Okay.
That was his drugstore. He owned and operated it till late 1911. Second son, Robert Emmett Morrison, was born in Orloff. That was John Wayne's one and only little brother. So that's his brother that's Clyde holding right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then Clyde lost the drugstore due to bankruptcy in very late 1911.
Okay. And then at some point, did they move to California?
They moved to California in April of 1914.
Okay. So John Wayne would have had really no memory of this town at all.
No.
So, wow. You got some magazines from the same time. That's
In
so
1916, they moved into Glendale, California, where Clyde takes a job as a pharmacist there. And that's where the boys try to find a home, go to school, and be boys.
Was there ever a time that John Wayne came back to this town?
No.
In his life? Never.
He
That's
never came back here.
Man. I thought maybe just a visit, to promote a movie, at the local
Well,
theater.
his daughter is on our board. You heard her in the theater in there, up there?
I haven't been to the theater yet. I've only been in a couple of the rooms over there.
All right. When you go to the theater, Aisha and Gordon will make him kind of talk to you about her dad.
So there's a rival museum in Fort Worth back where I was living, I think. Is that
That's
his brother, his sons that
His
run
son
that?
has that one.
Okay.
John Eason has that one.
But they don't have the birth house.
No, sir, they
In
do
fact,
not.
what is the Fort Worth connection? Just that it's cowboys and he made cowboy movies?
I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. You'd have to ask Liz on that one.
I don't want to generate controversy, but I know there's another. I never went to that
I've
museum.
never been to that one, so I couldn't tell you.
It's a cool part of town that old west part of Fort Worth, but
It's near the stockyards, isn't it?
Stockyards, yeah, that area is really neat. Yeah, so they play John Wayne movies occasionally at the local theater.
Occasionally, yes.
Yeah, I wish they would do that in Mount Air at the theater there.
Well, usually we'll have a John Wayne movie at the time of his birthday celebration, which is in May.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to come up for that.
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah, I
Well,
want to.
it's open on all Saturday. We have a celebration on the Saturday before Memorial Day, so
Yeah.
we have a lot of people come through.
I think for probably for my wife and myself to do maybe to get a motel room because I don't like driving at night. I'm starting to get the beginnings of cataracts and everything's.
You might want to make a reservation out there to a cobblestone.
Yeah, because that's coming right up, isn't it?
That's next month. We'll be next month, into next month.
Well, I wonder what is why does it come out like that?
That's because there's a stovepipe.
The
this way.
stovepipe, of course. Yeah. Well, man, how many square feet does this have?
650 square feet, give or take a little bit.
Yeah, it's like a little small apartment. I guess it's
yeah.
not that.
Well,
it's
that's-
cozy and
It was cozy, very comfortable, room enough for 3 people.
yeah, rooms didn't have to be giant
No,
because they didn't have
no.
TV sets. And,
No, they did not have such things back then.
right.
They were lucky to have, they could read the newspaper, or, of course, Mary was taking care of the baby.
Yeah.
And contrary to what some books say, Clyde did not own the drugstore uptown. He was merely a pharmacist at a clerk work.
Is that the drugstore that's there now that has the?
It's a shoe store now.
Oh, she's.
Village Fooderia, on the south side of the square.
When I was here 3 years ago, it was really cool that Rexall has a fountain, you know,
It's still there, yep.
Yeah, that's amazing. But what I regret is there was a 5 and dime at the corner, and
Yeah,
it's gone.
It's gone.
Oh, it was so great and so.
I know. I miss Ben Franklin.
Yeah,
They had a
that's
great hobby shop in there.
right. All the model kits. Yeah, it was just like stepping back into the 50s or 60s. It's a real shame that that's gone.
Yeah, well, Dave and Judy wanted to retire because they were so.
Sure, I mean people have to. I just wish someone could have carried it on.
I know, I wish so too. Then they sold it to those people that held the Dutch General Store, but that was a flop.
Oh, okay.
But I heard they went bankrupt. I don't know. You hear all sorts of stories.
Oh, is that the store that says we've decided to close? That's where that was, right? Okay.
That's where Ben Franklin's store was at.
Right, that's right. I was trying to remember what corner it was on.
They're on the south
And
side.
it was
of the square.
there, yeah. And they
South
have
side of the
a,
square at the very east end.
yeah, and they have a sign on it that they've decided to close. So
Yeah.
they didn't make it. Well, maybe if they just waited, the economy might get better. But
You
yeah,
never
the
know.
last few years.
Okay, this would be the Ben Franklin store right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, man, that's a shame. Wow. Well, this is sure neat. I guess I've got a couple more rooms at the museum to look at.
Guys, you gotta go through the theater. 'Cause I also will tell you about it's an 11-minute documentary. First minute or two is about her dad, and the rest is various film clips of his movies.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
I'm looking forward to this. Thank you so much.
thank you.
I mean, he was born here, but he has no memory of this place. He never came back to it. But it's he was born here. This is his birthplace. Seems like California would actually be a more logical place for the museum. But the one in Fort Worth, that makes sense because it's in the stomach yards and it's the cowboy connection. Shoot. Put it in San Antonio where the Alamo was. The Alamo's a great movie, but they didn't mention that it wasn't a successful movie. But oh well. Oh, look at that! Look at that outhouse. Look at that. It's a lot of. All this property went with that little tiny house, really, and that's the garage, I guess, where they had the cannon in. Okay. Let's see what else I haven't seen. Ronald Reagan came and visited. How about that? Okay.
Little trinkets. It's like also. Okay. That's what I was looking at. And Skip said that it was there on Wednesday night and he pulled it out on Thursday. Well, that's what I told Lois. I said, you do know the first place I looked over there. And she says, that was the first place
I have that one.
and you know, they picked up trash. It was clean. The trash
I have that one.
Listen to this. 2 weeks ago, I said to Liz, I go, you can't say that. She goes, yes, I would say that.
I have that one that has Frank Frazetta art in it. Finding a whale.
The guy that has the sign there that says private property, keep off. Yeah, and they, when she started here, they hated her too. We don't have to go, she worked. They have their way. So why now they say she was on that show? Oh, she did. I don't know. But all of a sudden, she, yeah, she said, well, it's district. And they are strange. Well, they moved
and somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. I won't. The hell I will.
When it says it here, we go 84.
Okay.
Now, I just sign that. Ask them if they do want to get a receipt, or just a cashier's receipt. Got the cashier's. Keep track of. You're gonna scare your listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
California, Winterset has become my adopted hometown. You see, my husband Scott and I travel to Winterset every May to celebrate my father's birthday, along with thousands of his fans and friends from all over the world. Growing up in my father's home, we were taught a love of God, a family, and of this exceptional country, the United States of America, and to always keep your word. My dad taught us never to feel that we were above anybody else and that each individual has their unique qualities and character. We also learned the quality of humility and that striving to become honorable and self-sufficient would do us well. While my dad remains an icon of the American spirit, I never knew him to be anything else but the most humble man. As the most celebrated film star of all time, my dad was aware of his popularity, but never did he realize how much people really loved and admired him for the man that he was. The John Wayne Birthplace and Museum teaches us a valuable lesson that the American heartland produces our greatest heroes, and that the American spirit is alive and well in the hearts of legions of fans and friends who continue to celebrate a man, John Wayne, who is truly one of us. We hope you'll enjoy this short film which captures many of my father's motion picture triumphs, and then take the time to enjoy the museum, the Birthplace home, and the charm of Winterset, Iowa, truly the heartland of America. And I want to personally thank you for always having John Wayne in your hearts.
What about me? James? Good morning, Daddy. It's been some time since
Before you use it, because he'll be dead before I hit the ground.
How many men have you shot since you became a marshal, Mr. Copland?
Same tightness a man gets when his baby takes his first step.
Newcomers. England's gone.
must be over here. Let's go backwards. These aren't necessarily in chronological order, I don't think. Maybe they are. Maybe they are. No, they're not in order. Man, I didn't see The Conqueror listed there. That's an unfortunate movie where he played Genghis Khan, and they were testing atomic bombs right next to where they were filming that in the desert, and everyone in the cast eventually succumbed to that. Oh well. Please respect and do not touch or climb on the Freedom Rock. The Freedom Rock. That rock looks like it's pretty heavy, man. A lot of people around here have rocks, big rocks, boulders in their yards. It's like a thing here. This is the Madison County Freedom Rock. All right. Well, I guess I'll bid you guys farewell. Enjoyed touring the museum with you. I'll talk to you soon.